So transitioning to football, we were just talking about some of the college situations. College football is interesting right now, like I have to be honest and say I really want to see Colorado make the football playoff. That would be so awesome to see, just starting from before Deion Sanders and his team got there, 1-11, transitioning that into last year, start off hot. Everybody wants to see them go down. They do go down. They lose 8 straight or whatever it is. Everybody's naysaying. And then to come into the season and just, because I know what it takes to have like a roster flip, to have a situation where you come in to a program, it's not your roster, it's not your players, and you're trying to change culture from a losing situation to a winning one. Usually you can't snap your fingers and do that. But Deion Sanders and his group have done a really great job making that happen. But not just with the Colorado Buffs, but so much interest and entertainment around college football. Like Georgia was supposed to be a really great team, and they've just been so up and down. Like they have really great games, and they have like down games, and up games and down games. And Alabama the same. Like, taking over from Nick Saban, like a really big win against Georgia, and then go down, and then up, and then lose to Vanderbilt, and then up, and then down. And I watched the Tennessee game against Georgia, personal connection there because I used to work with Nico Imaleva's brother, Matt, and just so that was the first time I watched him play, watching him play against Georgia, and they like come out, take the lead on him. It's back and forth a little bit. It's interesting. If I'm being honest, when I was coming up, like I wasn't really a football fan when I was young. I didn't watch much college at all, and like very little NFL, only the Dallas Cowboys because I'm from Dallas. But I'm really interested now outside of the injuries. I think it's interesting. I'm more in the mind of a quarterback. I've started to work with some quarterbacks in my day job, and so I just have more of a mind of the game. So it's interesting to me. So what's interesting you right now in football, NFL football?
I just think the way that they're setting up the rankings right now, the way they're setting up the rankings is super weird. Like they got people moving up who like aren't playing against good teams. They got people moving down who are playing against really good teams. There are people who have really good strength of schedule who aren't high enough, So the way that they've done the rankings has always been like a point of contention for everyone.
Yes.
Because it's not very clear with the way that your strength of schedule is set up and then how you play against every team. So I think just the issue of like the inconsistencies of like who's in the top 25, who should be in it, who should be out of it, strength of schedule. So that's been the most, like, I guess, annoying part for me.
Yeah, I remember Paul Feinbaum was talking on ESPN with Stephen A. and he was just going off on, like, the most recent poll that came out and just, like, how do you get this, how do you get this, how do you get this? And it does make you wonder, because it's human, human error, but it's like a group of people sitting in a room talking about football, and some things do seem like very common sense, to somebody who doesn't have investment. It's one thing if somebody's like, I'm a Georgia Bulldogs fan. They should be number 1, number 2, But if you're neutral, like, some things do seem a little bit more cut and dry, but sometimes they come out with some interesting things, which makes you question the politics behind the scenes, like who's moving and shaking, who's like getting these things to shift type situation.
There's
but
always politics.
If you had to say right now, who do you think's going to win college football? Who's going to win the national championship?
I like the way Georgia's looking.
Yeah.
Georgia's been looking good. So.
Yeah. It's a trick. I mean, Texas didn't end up being as high level consistently as people thought they were going to be. Georgia's been up and down, but they seem to be catching a little bit of stride right now at the right time. Alabama's a big question mark, but that's the nice part about football. Anything can happen. Like you talk about one game, that's a situation. It's not like NBA playoffs. It's not like MLB playoffs for college football. One game, one quarter can change. If somebody makes a fumble at the wrong time, if somebody ends up, catching a fingertip touchdown at the right time, like things can flip pretty quick.
Anything.
Yeah, things can flip pretty quick. So that's what is really starting to interest me is how much of the game weighs on just play-to-play decision making. Where in other sports it's tough to make. It's easier to make up. In basketball, if you make 2 mistakes in a row, there's a lot of plays. You can make it up. Football, it's like if you're a quarterback and you have 2 mental errors, that could be the game. Done. So
that's wild, man. And the funny part is I actually forgot who this guy played for, but I met a guy a few days ago named Don Fielder, and he was a linebacker in the NFL, like back in the day when like Steve Young was in the league, and he was like, bro, I was mowing through people in high school. He said he was like 265, running a 4.4. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's too much.
I was like, what?
That's too much.
He literally was like, yeah, man, like I went the JUCO route. He was a local guy. And I think he said he went to Kentucky and then went pro. And he was like, bro, like he told me like some wild stories about like how physical the game was, how unsafe the game was. Like, I was like, bro, that seriously happened? He was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, man, I was crushing people fast, like hitting the gap. Like, he's like, yeah, I played against Herschel Walker. I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah. And
I'm sure. It's like, it's such a physical game, you know, seeing it live when you get close to the sidelines and every play, it's just like when guys wrap each other up and like get them to the ground, it's like, your body's not really supposed to be hitting the ground like that, and definitely not from other people forcing that movement and people's weight falling on you. And if you could just imagine, like when you're a regular human, how sometimes like your wrist will get caught in a funky position, or your knee, you know, like when somebody's forcing that movement and it's power and energy, like I'm never surprised when they say like, oh, this person's ACL is torn, this person like has a dislocated elbow.
Bro, he told me all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like he was like, bro, I've seen legs, I've seen arms, I've seen neck. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, bro, like had to get a fuse done for life. I was like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I think somebody, I don't know who said it, but they were like, football is the hardest way to get rich.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Hands down.
For sure. And I mean, not for long league is like for real. I mean,
It's
most
true.
people in their 3 years. Most people in their 3 years. So the people who are able to make it longer, you know, they have something different mentally. Like the people who can dominate, like the Aaron Donalds, like who's retired now.
Yeah.
Like, but
By choice.
the people who can do it, like at that level, and just like, I'm the most physical. I'm the biggest dog on the block. Like, you have to be at just a mental space where you're like, no one can stop me.
Yeah.
I'm him. I'm the person. Like I'm getting through. You know, like a Micah Parsons type. You know, who just makes it. It's wild to me. Just how regular humans can be so physical and so dominating and so like that way. It's cool. So Super Bowl opinion. Who's going to the Super Bowl now that we're a couple more weeks through? Chiefs lost their first game to the Bills. Teams are in midseason form. All the people you expected to be good, they're showing their stuff. The Cowboys are not going to the Super Bowl. Who's going to the Super Bowl?
Can we not get into that? Oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad. What I was really surprised about is actually the Steelers. Mm-hmm. The Steelers beat the Ravens. Mm-hmm. I believe Steelers are like 8-1 now.
They lost last night.
Yeah, they lost last night. I guess 8-2, but. Even getting that win against the Ravens, I was like, there's no way. Yeah. And so, like, the Ravens are, like...
A little shaky
after that
They
loss.
play the Chargers this Monday, I believe.
Yeah.
They're like the shaky ground. The defense hasn't been doing as well as it was at the beginning of the year. But you find that. Just like you need leadership. So, Super Bowl, who do you think?
I still think the Chiefs are going to do what they do. I don't know, man. Like, it's mid-season and the teams that are playing really good are playing good, but it's like you still got to be able to finish it out, which is the problem. Like, you could be 8-1, 8-2 right now and then lose like 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm still holding tight to the Chiefs. I think that they're gonna get healthier over time and then still obviously make their run. And obviously, Mahomes, he's got that championship DNA. So right with it.
I'm going with Lions versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Lions versus
Chiefs.
Lions making their first Super Bowl, and maybe Lions versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We'll see. Lions got to hang on to that flow that they've been having.
Which is weird because I don't really know who they have.
Well, they have. I mean, their quarterback's been doing really well since he got traded from the Rams, Jared Goff. But Amon St. Brown, he's like undercover, like just dog. He just wants it, and he makes plays at the right time. Their defense is really good. Dan Campbell, the coach, has been having them play really fluid, and they've got other position players. Unfortunately, they lost Hutchinson early on to like a broken leg, so that's gonna be a hit. But they've been doing work, so we'll see. I mean, it's tough to bet against the Chiefs. It's tough. Like Patrick Mahomes has not been playing well, but you have to believe like he's gonna pull it together, at the right time. You just do. You look in history and you go, Michael Jordan at times is playing average. He pulls it together at the right time. Tom Brady's playing average, pulls it together at the right time.
But also, like, remember what is it? Eli won 2 championships.
Yeah.
And they were literally like mid
Yeah.
every year that they won, maybe like 10 wins or something, and go out and win the Super Bowl. So it's I don't care like how superstars are playing. If they're playing bad, like they can always turn it on when it's time, just because they're those kind of players.
Right.
So I don't worry about it.
I see it.